Hi, this is Ridea, keeping it real, and we are reading through the Good News Bible, and we're on the book of Daniel, and we finished chapter 1 and 2. Now we're on chapter 3 of Daniel. Oh, here we go. So Nebuchadnezzar commands everyone to worship a gold statue. King Nebuchadnezzar had a gold statue made 90 feet high and 9 feet wide. It's huge. And he had it set in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then the king gave orders for all of his officials to come together, the princes, the governors, lieutenant governors, commissioners, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all of the other officials of the provinces. They were to attend the dedication of the statue, which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Okay. When all of the officials gathered for the dedication and stood in front of the statue, a herald announced in a loud voice, "People of all nations, races, and languages, you will hear the sound of the trumpets, followed by the playing of oboes, lyres, zithers, and harps, and then all of the other instruments will join in. As soon as the music starts, you are to bow down and worship the gold statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Anyone who does not bow down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace." And so as soon as they heard the sound of the instruments, the people of all nations, races, and languages bowed down and worshiped the gold statue which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Okay, so Daniel's 3 friends are accused of disobedience. It was then that some Babylonians took the opportunity to denounce the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "May your majesty live forever. Your majesty has issued an order that as soon as the music starts, everyone is to bow down and worship the gold statue, and that anyone who does not bow down and worship it is to be thrown into the blazing furnace. There are some of the Jews who you put in charge of the provinces of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, for disobeying your majesty's orders. They do not worship your God or bow down to the statue you set up." Okay. At that, the king flew into a rage and ordered the 3 men to be brought before him. He said to them, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is it true that you refuse to worship my God and to bow down to the gold statue I have set up? Now then, as soon as you hear the sound of the trumpets, the oboes, look that up, lyres, zithers, harps, and all the other instruments, bow down and worship the statue. If you do not, you will immediately be thrown into the blazing furnace. Do you think there is any God who can save you?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's why I just knew the name Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego because of this story. Because Daniel wasn't with them at this time. Okay. Answered, "Your Majesty, will we not try to defend our..." And then it makes me wonder, did Daniel bow down? Why isn't Daniel with him? Okay. That's something I'm going to look up. So this is what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered. "Your Majesty, we will not try to defend ourselves. If the God whom we serve is able to save us from the blazing furnace and from your power, then he will. But even if he doesn't, your Majesty may be sure that we will not worship your God, and we will not bow down to the gold statue that you have set up. So it doesn't matter if he saves us or not, we're not bowing down to your statue." So Daniel's 3 friends are sentenced to death. Then Nebuchadnezzar lost his temper. Didn't they just say he lost his temper before? No, he flew into a rage. Okay. Lost his temper, and his face turned red. I wonder what it says in the King James for this. with anger at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So he ordered his men to heat the furnace 7 times hotter than usual. And he commanded the strongest men in his army to tie the 3 men up and throw them into the blazing furnace. So they tied them up, fully dressed, shirts, robes, caps, and all, and threw them into the blazing furnace. That's a picture of them in the blazing furnace. And that's God there in the middle of them, walking around. Now, because the king had given strict orders for the furnace to be made extremely hot, the flames burned up the guard. Wow. The flames burned up the guards who took the men to the furnace. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, still tied up, fell into the heart of the blazing fire. Suddenly, Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement. He asked his officials, "Didn't we tie up 3 men and throw them into the blazing furnace?" They answered, "Yes, we did, Your Majesty." "Then why do I see 4 men walking around in the fire?" he asked. "They are not tied up, and they show no signs of being hurt. And the 4th one looks like an angel." The 3 men are released and promoted. So Nebuchadnezzar went up to the door of the blazing furnace and called out, "Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, servants of the supreme God, come out." They came out at once. All of the princes, governors, lieutenant governors, and other officials of the king gathered to look at the 3 men who had not been harmed by the fire. Their hair was not singed, their clothes were not burned, and there was no smell of smoke on them. The king said, "Praise the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel and rescued these men who serve and trust him." Who serve and trust him. They rescued these men who serve and trust him. That's key. They disobeyed my orders and risked their lives rather than bow down and worship any god except their own. And we may be faced with that we have to bow down to something or worship something in the future. And we have to be brave enough to say no and trust God enough and to know that the Most High God is going to take care of us one way or the other. "And now I command that if anyone of any nation, race, or language speaks disrespectfully of the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he is to be torn limb from limb." He's violent, torn limb from limb. "And his house is to be made a pile of ruins. There is no other God who can rescue like this." And the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to higher positions in the province of Babylon. Okay, so let's see what the Haley's Bible Handbook says about Daniel chapter 3, the fiery furnace. According to the Septuagint, this incident occurred in the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign. Because Nebuchadnezzar reigned for a long time. This is saying that Nebuchadnezzar reigned for 45 years, 45 of the 70 years that the Babylonian Empire existed. So he reigned a long time. So in his 18th year, this fiery furnace happened. Let me see, hold on. So according to the Septuagint, this incident occurred in the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, after Daniel and his 3 friends had been in Babylon for 20 years. Wow. That was the same year that Nebuchadnezzar had burned Jerusalem in 586 BC. So you can look that up, research that, affirm it. Just as God had revealed to Daniel the dream of Nebuchadnezzar and its interpretation years before, so now he puts into the hearts of these 3 men the firm determination to be true. Wait a minute. Just as God had revealed to Daniel the dream of Nebuchadnezzar and its interpretation. God revealed it years before. So now he, God, puts into the hearts of these three men the firm determination to be true. And then he goes with them into the fire. Wow. Wow. Like, Most High God is going in the fire with you. Do not be afraid. And we know this to be true. At the moments that we are down and going through something horrible, we know at the end of the day, the God that's there with us. We may not remember when we're not going through something like that, but when we get into that fire like that, God shows up for those who honor and obey him. Wow. Not only to honor their faith, but to demonstrate before the assembled dignitaries of the far-flung empire the power of the God of Jerusalem over the boasted gods of Babylon. Thus, a second time God manifested himself in the palace of the mighty empire, and the second time the mighty Nebuchadnezzar bowed before God and proclaimed him to be the true God to the utmost bounds of his empire. The apocryphal book called the Song of the Three Holy Children. I had never heard of that, so I've got to look that up. The apocryphal book called the Song of the Three Holy Children. Oh, they're the three holy children. Okay, the three friends. Purports to be the song of praise of these three men for their deliverance. Inserted after 323. Inserted after 323. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, still tied up, fell into the heart of the blazing fire. So they sing a song after that. Okay. No. It embodied a popular tradition, but was never regarded as part of the Hebrew Bible. That's something that's interesting right there. I wonder why not. Okay. Obert, who excavated in the ruins of Babylon in 1854, found a pedestal of the colossal statue that may have been remains of Nebuchadnezzar's golden image. Interesting. Okay. All right. So that was chapter 3. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. In the fire, in the flames, in the furnace. In the furnace. Ugh. We know. I mean, I guess when you live long enough, you know that that there will be times of fire and flames, and you don't know how you're gonna make it through, but you know where your help comes from. And I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm saying that from experience. I remember when I was going through breast cancer. You're like, the whole time you're thinking, I mean, this could be it. This could be how I die. I don't know when I will die, but this could be the how part. This is how I die. And you're thinking as you're going through the whole process, the whole craziness of the medical system that is just soaking up. They're just sucking up your money. I had a good medical team, but the whole time I'm sitting there like, this is insane. That's how I got into insurance, is because of that. Because as I started looking at how much that cost without insurance, it was $150,000 from beginning to end. How anybody could pay that, I don't know. I don't know how anybody, a normal person without insurance, could pay that. I just don't know. It's like going through that. It was like, I mean, the only person that showed up was the Most High God. I had done a lot of things by that point in my life, Buddhism, studied some Hinduism, all these different religions, went to different churches. I was into understanding, who the Most High God was when I was going through that. And I had started reading this book during that time. And I got through much of the slog of the Old Testament, and this was back in 2019. So you can tell that I am getting through this book. It's taking me this long. So this is one way I'm getting through it. Is to color the pictures, put it online, whether anybody sees it or not, doesn't matter to me. I'm doing it really just to get through the book for myself. And then also, in case somebody sees it. I mean, it's not easy to dedicate yourself to reading this stuff. It's not, because I could be doing anything. It's Saturday. It's sunny outside. I can see people in a pool. I can see that, and that kind of reminds me too of, like, you just gotta focus in on what matters. And this to me matters to finish this. But when you're going through the fire like they're going through the fire here, God's there. God's everywhere. God's there with you at all times. How can he not be? How can God not be there with you at all times? He's right there, whether you know it or not, or admit it or not, or there. You get sidetracked about who God is, who the real God is. I don't know. This angel here would be like, I'm here, guys. Let's do this. Let's show them who we are. That you have obeyed me, and I'm here with you. Just imagine that. Imagine that happening right there. Sorry, imagine that. I wasn't even looking at the camera, so I didn't know that I was out of the frame. But imagine that happening right there. Now, they were in the fire. They were tied up when they went in. And when they went in, the guards that put them in burned up. It was so hot. They tied them up, threw them in, and all of a sudden you're looking inside the furnace, and they're not tied up. They're walking around. Nothing's wrong with them. Like, just picture that really happen. Picture it happening. I'm picturing that happening. Right? So that's chapter 3 of Daniel. That's the 3 Hebrew men in the fire because they wouldn't bow down to the statue and another god. And it kind of tells us we have to have that strong relationship already built up, so when the times like that come, we're not afraid, because we know where our help's going to come from. We know the Most High God and all the angels are going to be with us and protect us and help us. All right, chapter 4, and then we're going to stop. Chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar's second dream. So Nebuchadnezzar had a first dream, and that first dream was about that statue. You hear a lot about that, about the kingdoms and the rock hitting it and the kingdoms crashing. This is the end times that we're in now, we think. That was his first dream that Daniel was able to know what the dream was. God gave him that, and he interpreted it. Right? Talk about divination. That's divination. Right? That was right here in the Bible. So Nebuchadnezzar's second dream. King Nebuchadnezzar sent the following message to the people of all nations, races, and languages in the world. Greetings. Listen to my account of the wonders and miracles which the Supreme God has shown me. How great are the wonders God shows us. How powerful are the miracles he performs. God is king forever. He will rule for all times. That's great. So how great are the wonders God shows us? How powerful are the miracles he performs? God is king forever. He will rule for all times. I was living comfortably in my palace, enjoying the great prosperity, but had a frightening dream and saw terrifying visions while I was asleep. I ordered all the royal advisors in Babylon to be brought to me so that they could tell me what the dream meant. Then all the fortune tellers, magicians, wizards, and astrologers were brought in, and I told them my dream, but they could not explain it to me. Then Daniel came in. He's also called Belteshazzar, after the name of my God. So that's the name of King Nebuchadnezzar's God. He named Daniel the name of his God. Okay, the spirit of the holy gods is in him. The spirit. He says the spirit of the holy gods is in him. So I told him what I had dreamed. I said to him, Belteshazzar, the chief of the fortune tellers, I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you and that you understand all mysteries. Wow. This is my dream. Tell me what it means. While I was asleep, I had a vision of a huge tree in the middle of the earth. It grew bigger and bigger till it reached the sky and could be seen by everyone in the world. Its leaves were beautiful and it was loaded down with fruit, enough for the whole world to eat. Birds built nests in their branches and every kind of living being ate its fruit. While I was thinking about the vision, I saw coming down from the heaven an angel, alert and watchful. He proclaimed in a loud voice. So while he was thinking about the vision, I saw coming down from heaven. Oh, this is still part of the dream. An angel, alert and watchful. He proclaimed in a loud voice, cut the tree down and chop off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruits, drive the animals from under it and the birds out of the branches, but leave the stump in the ground with a band of iron and bronze around it. Oh, that's the band of iron and bronze around it. Okay. Leave it there in the field with the grass. Now, let the dew fall on the man. Let the dew fall on the man and let him live with the animals and the plants. Okay, I remember reading this. I read it a while back for some reason. Some reason I had to read that for something I was studying. Okay. Hold on. Okay, now let the dew fall on this man and let him live with the animals and the plants. For 7 years, he will not have a human mind, the mind of an animal. 7 years. This is the decision of the alert and watchful angels. So then, let all the people everywhere know that the supreme God has power over human kingdoms and that he can give them to anyone he chooses, even to the least important. Oh, it's coming. I was reading this during the U.S. elections. Something led me to that, where it doesn't matter, who's in charge. The supreme God has power over the kingdoms, and he can give these kingdoms, these countries, to anybody he wants to for his own purposes. So don't think that because who the president is now, that God doesn't have a hand in it. God's still not controlling it. God has the power over the kingdoms. He's running this world. He's letting Lucifer maybe do what he's going to do, but in the end of the day, God's in control. This is the dream I had, said King Nebuchadnezzar. Now, Belteshazzar, tell me what it means. None of my royal advisors could tell me, but you can, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. That's interesting. Okay, that's a picture of the tree? This is supposed to be the tree falling down. So tall. No, this is the tree as it was growing so tall, and that's it cut down up there. Okay. Daniel explains the dream. At this, Daniel is also called Belteshazzar, was so alarmed that he could not say anything. The king said to him, Belteshazzar, don't let the dream and the message alarm you. Belteshazzar replied, Your Majesty, I wish that the dream and its explanation applied to your enemies and not to you. The tree, so tall that it reached the sky, could be seen by everyone in the world. Its leaves were beautiful, and it had enough fruit on it to feed the whole world. Wild animals rested under it. The birds made their nests in its branches. Your Majesty, you are the tree, tall and strong. You have grown so great that you reach the sky, and your power extends over the whole world. While your Majesty was watching, an angel came down from heaven and said, Cut the tree down and destroy it, but leave the stump in the ground. Wrap a band of iron and bronze around it and leave it there in the fields with the grass. Let the dew fall on this man and let him live there with the animals for 7 years. This, then, is what it means, Your Majesty, and this is what the Supreme God has declared will happen to you. You will be driven away from human society and will live with the wild animals. For 7 years, you will eat grass like an ox and sleep in the open air where the dew will fall on you. Then you will admit that the Supreme God controls all human kingdoms. Woo! Wow, 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 wow. You will admit it. And that he can choose them to anyone he can what? He can give them to anyone he chooses. I mean, anybody. So he is choosing these leaders that is deep right there. Especially in this day and time when everybody feels like the world is falling apart and they don't know about their leaders and all that. Sear that in your brain. That the Supreme God controls all human kingdoms and that he can give them to anyone he chooses, which means he can give them to us. He can give these kingdoms to us, his chosen people, in time. And we can have that kingdom. We are a nation, right? Oh, the angels ordered the stump to be left in the ground. This means that you will become king again when you acknowledge that God rules all of the world. So then, Your Majesty, follow my advice, stop sinning, do what is right, and be merciful to the poor. Then you will continue to be prosperous. Okay. All of this did happen to King Nebuchadnezzar. Only 12 months later, when he was walking around on the roof of his royal palace in Babylon, he said, Look how great Babylon is. I built it as my capital city to display my power and my might, my glory and majesty. Before the words were out of his mouth, a voice spoke from heaven. King Nebuchadnezzar, listen to what I say. Your royal power is now taken away from you. You will be driven away from human society, live with wild animals, and eat grass like an ox for 7 years. Then you will acknowledge that the Supreme God has power over human kingdoms and that he can give them to anyone he chooses. The words came true immediately. King Nebuchadnezzar was driven out of human society and ate grass like an ox. The dew fell on his body, and his hair grew as long as eagle's feathers, and his nails as long as birds' claws. Nebuchadnezzar praises God. When the 7 years had passed, said the king, I looked up at the sky, and my sanity returned. So, one thing right now, if you're not doing it, just make sure you are thanking God that you're in your right mind, and and he's blessed you to stay in your right mind, because you don't want that taken away, because we can see here that it can be. So it's things like that. I don't say little things because it's a big thing, but the things we take for granted that, just, thank you, Most High, that, those of us that are here right now today, me, that I'm in my right mind, and that those that may find this video, that they're in their right mind. I praised the supreme God and gave honor and glory to the one who lives forever. He will rule forever, and his kingdom will last for all time. He looks on the people of the earth as nothing. Angels in heaven and people on earth are under his control. No one can oppose his will or question what he does. Phew. When my sanity returned, my honor, my majesty, and the glory of my kingdom were given back to me. My officials and my noblemen welcomed me, and I was given back my royal power and even greater honor than before. And now, I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and honor and glorify the King of heaven. Everything he does is right and just, and he can humble anyone who acts proudly. Okay. Bible Handbook, chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar, insanity, and recovery. This is the story of another dream of Nebuchadnezzar's, which Daniel interpreted, and which came true. Nebuchadnezzar was smitten with a mental disease, in which he fancied himself as a beast and tried to act like one, roaming among the animals in the parks of the palace grounds. A third time Nebuchadnezzar bowed before God and proclaimed his power to all of the world. 7 times. Wait a minute. A third time Nebuchadnezzar bowed before God and proclaimed his power to all the world. 7 times, 32. The word means seasons. I don't know what that means. Rendell Harris says that in Babylonia, summer and winter were the only seasons counted, according to which it would be 3.5 years. So they're trying to see how long this. I don't know what that means. I gotta look at that. In one of Nebuchadnezzar's inscriptions, given an account of his buildings and accomplishments, occurs this as read by Sir Henry Rawlinson. For 4 years, the residents of my kingdom did not delight my heart. In no one of my possessions did I erect any important buildings by my might. I did not put up buildings in Babylon for myself, in the honor of my name, in the worship of Merodach, my god. This is another god's name he has. I did not sing his praise, nor did I provide his altar with sacrifices, nor clean his candles. This is thought by some possibly to be the euphemistic reference to his insanity. Through ancient kings and having his inscription made avoided recording such things. This is very historical, this book is. Lenormand states that Chaldeans had a tradition that Nebuchadnezzar ascended the roof of his palace and cried, O Babylonians, there shall come a Persian to impose servitude upon you. A Mede shall be his associate. This is, if true, looks like Nebuchadnezzar had absorbed some of Daniel's ideas. Okay, so that was Daniel chapter 4 with the second dream, and this horrific thing that happened to Nebuchadnezzar where he was cut down and built back up after he acknowledged that God was all powerful and all knowing. So we'll move into Daniel chapter 5 and 6 for the next video. Until next time, it's right to keeping it real.